Hello there, Twins fans. How are you? It's Sunday night. We're trying a different time slot here for a new episode of Twins Spotlight. Thank you very much for joining tonight. Before we get started, I want to mention we do have another exciting Twins Spotlight tomorrow night that I think you'll be very excited to see and hear and watch. So be sure to check out twinsdaily.com later tonight or tomorrow for the announcement of that show. Also remember that this is live on Twins Daily Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube pages. If you do have questions throughout the show for myself or for our guests, please feel free to put them in the comments wherever you are, and we'll be sure to get to them right away. So again, thank you for listening, and let's get to it. Our Twin Spotlight tonight, if I find the right screen here. Right-handed pitcher Bailey Ober. Of course, you probably knew that name before if you followed Twins Daily the last few years, but his name was in the news again on Friday night when he was one of three players that the Minnesota Twins added to their 40-man roster. Obviously, a big deal for anyone that happens to and that happens for. So, first of all, congratulations to him. He'll be joining us here just in a second. This isn't the first time he's been spotlighted on Twins Daily, though. We did a get to know him way back in January of 2018, the offseason right after he got drafted, kind of getting to know him. I encourage you to go check that out. And then after his 2019 season, or late in his 2019 season, I had a chance to chat with him again. And at that time, we found out some of the secrets to his success that year. And again, a big deal to be added to the 40-man roster. And with that, I'm going to introduce and bring in our guest of the night, Bailey Ober. Bailey, how are you tonight?
Good. How you doing, Seth?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you doing this. I'm glad it worked out to catch up with you after such a big weekend. But first things first, Sunday night, Minnesota site, I got to ask, have you become a Minnesota Twins or Minnesota Vikings fan over the last two seasons?
Definitely been watching them a lot more, especially with my guy Garrett playing over there now. Yeah, I was just watching their game not too long ago. But yeah, definitely been pulling for Garrett the last couple of years.
No, just to make sure we don't talk about you the whole time, I was looking it up, and he was actually the 6th-ranked catcher coming out of North Carolina, according to Perfect Game. I believe you guys are the same age or very close, and like 180th overall in the entire country that year. So he must have been pretty good at baseball too.
Yeah, he was in the grade below me, but yeah, he was a stud. He definitely could have played college ball, and then he could have had a chance to probably play in pro ball. He had a really good swing. Probably hit the farthest home run ball I've ever seen.
Really? Well, it's kind of fun. Obviously, he went to North Carolina State, and I think just stuck to football, which has worked out for him quite well, as he has been the starting center for the Vikings the last two seasons, a first-round pick last year. And unfortunately, the Vikings did lose tonight. But Bailey, let's get right to your big weekend. Obviously, being on the 40-man roster is a big deal for any player. It's obviously an obstacle that doesn't have to be cleared to get you to the big leagues in season. I have to ask first and foremost, when did you find out? How did you find out? And who were your first phone calls?
It was kind of a funny story. So last week I was in a hunting trip up in Maine with my dad's side of my family. So with all this stuff was going down, I was in the middle of the woods walking around with no cell service. So by the time we get back in the truck, drive back to our camp, it's like 5:36, and I'm just starting to get some cell service, and my phone just starts blowing up. And I missed a couple calls at like 2:30. And I finally got cell service called, Alex Hassan, and then I found out then. So it was pretty good news coming out of the woods.
Absolutely. So now that you've got cell reception and you've had that call, I mean, are you calling, I assume first and foremost, probably your wife, but what was the, like you said, your phone's blowing up, and I'm guessing you had some first phone calls too.
Yeah, she actually found out before me. So my agent, I guess my agent tried to also get a hold of me to let me know what was going on. So he couldn't get a hold of me. He called my wife. He told her, and then she tried to get a hold of me a bunch of times and just couldn't get anything through until I got all those phone calls all at once and all those messages all at once.
So it's a weird question to ask, but was it something you were expecting? I mean, did you know that Friday was the day that it would be announced and that kind of thing? Was it something you were hoping for or expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely hoping for it. I think it caught me by surprise a little bit, just because I wasn't up in St. Paul this year. I was back here at home, and I hadn't really been hearing too much from my agent or from the Twins side. So it definitely caught me by surprise, and very grateful.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm usually pretty close on these, and I was wrong. And part of the reason I figured you got to Double A in 2019, but then with the last 2020 season,
Yeah.
not getting to go to the alternate site in St. Paul, I guess it surprised me to some degree, and in a good way. Obviously, let's talk a little bit quickly about your 2019 season.
Yeah.
And 78 and 2/3 innings, I believe, 100 strikeouts, 9 walks. Just remarkable between both high A and Double A. What was, I mean, I'm sure you could probably go into the science and all that, but in a crib note version, what were some of the keys to that excessive success? I mean, you'd pitched well the year before, but you took it to a new level.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was really locked in last year. I felt like each outing, I kind of had this confidence going about myself that this is what I had to do. This is what I need to get the job done, and just went out there and executed some pitches, timely pitches, make sure runners on base didn't score on late in the game and stuff like that. And yeah, I just felt like I was in my zone. You know what I mean?
What kind of going back to that a little bit. Let's go back to you were at spring training in 2020 early. I know I was there about a week before things got shut down, and I saw you throw at least one, if not two, bullpens over the course of a week. You were there early. What was going through your mind? I'm sure you were excited for what could have been a real big season for you.
Yeah, I was excited. Had the opportunity to go over on the big league side and throw a couple live bullpens to the guys over there. So that was cool. And that was pretty early in spring training, I think maybe a week or two into it. And then all of a sudden all this stuff happens with COVID, and we're having surprise meetings 3 nights in a row at 6 p.m. And the last one is, all right, everyone pack up their bags and go home. Yeah, I was feeling good. My body was feeling really good. I was ready to go out this year and compete and hopefully move up.
From last season, your 2019 season, to spring training, what were some of the things you were kind of working on to come into the 2020 season, maybe to take yet another step, obviously moving up to Double A and Triple A and maybe the big leagues, who knows?
Yeah, I was working on so I came in pretty early last year. I think I arrived like mid-January. Had like a little camp going on, pitching camp. So I was working on mainly a slider during that, and my mechanics a little bit, just cleaning some stuff up. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were in a good, you had said you were feeling good health-wise, but, were your pitches starting to come along? And it's weird to ask because, like I said, when I was there, minor league camp hadn't officially started yet, but you were throwing bullpens. I'm sure it would have been nice to start facing batters from other teams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything was working. Everything was feeling really good. I was excited to maybe go over to a big league game and pitch over there, show everyone what I could do and stuff like that. And yeah, we were just about to get started to play against other teams in the minor league spring training, and that's when everything got shut down.
So what did you do at that point? Because kind of nobody really knew how long it would last.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So did you go back home? Did you go back to Denver, or did you head up to the Carolinas, which I know is where you're from originally, or
yeah,
you plan for that?
Yeah, I know. It was kind of crazy. I had to make a lot of phone calls and see what was best for me. I had my family with me down in spring training, so we were staying at a place down there. They gave me and my family the option to stay there. They just didn't guarantee that I was going to be able to use any of the facilities because everything was getting locked up. So I made a couple calls back here to Denver. I have a facility out here that I train at, so I called them, see if they were going to be open. Made a decision to come back here, and been out in Denver ever since. So yeah.
All right, that's the voice, as you can see on the screen, of Bailey Ober, who was added to the Twins 40-man roster just over this weekend, which, again, obviously a very big deal, along with Jordan Balazovic and Ben Rortvitz. So you're in Denver, and, I think Griffin Jacks is from that area. Taylor Rogers is from that area. Are you able to work out with any of those guys? I know Denver's not a small town, but do you ever work out with those guys?
Yeah, we all train at the same facility out here. So when all three of us are out here, we'll work out together and stuff like that. Obviously, Rogers was gone during the season, and I believe Griff was up at the off-site training. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So he was gone too. So it was mainly just me out here from the Twins. But during the off season, we usually train out here together.
Okay. So what was the level of communication, maybe for yourself, with, or whether, obviously Pete Mackey had moved up to the big league club as a bullpen coach, and JP Martinez was at the alternate site. So were you in communication with them or other, say, pitching coaches or coordinators throughout that time during, March through July or August?
Yeah, I was in contact with Louis Ramirez and our other AA pitching coach that was going to be up there this year, and then also Justin Willard. So those are the main three pitching guys that I talked to this whole year, and just we were communicating back and forth on what we needed to work on, what I was working on, showing them videos of what I've been doing and stuff like that. So,
and you had worked with, I believe, at least Justin Willard in the past. I want to say for sure at Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
I believe Nat Ballenberg was going to be the other AA coach. So were you able to, I don't know, throw as a starting pitcher? Were you able to throw, bullpens? Were you able to do any like live hitters or anything like that? I imagine it was just tough because nobody knew what was happening anywhere, really.
Yeah, exactly. So the first half of the lockdown, I guess you could say it, out here in Denver, our facility closed. So me and a couple other pro guys that I work out with went to a local park, and we're just throwing bullpens on their mound for probably a good month and a half. And then stuff started opening back up, and our facility started opening back up. So once that happened, everything shifted back inside, and we were able to throw live to some hitters, local hitters out here, college guys, some pro guys, stuff like that. So yeah, we're able to keep loose and keep throwing and keep training. So
sure. More important here right now, I think, this has become tradition on this show, but Max the Cat can't wait to see you in the big leagues. So congratulations. I know, I don't know what to say either, but I don't know how much personal you want to go into, but congratulations. You and your wife welcomed your second child, I believe, to the world. Everything good there? I imagine bringing a child in the world during a pandemic isn't exactly great, but I hope you all are doing well.
Yeah, everyone's good. It was a little bit different just with all the rules and regulations at the hospital and stuff like that, but went super smoothly and everyone's doing great. So yeah.
Good. And then I don't believe you were at Instructional League either as well. Did you get to Fort?
I was not down there, no.
Okay. So what happens now? I mean, do you kind of continue what you've been doing all summer? Have you been able to, take a break for a while to rest your arm, to rest your legs, all of that kind of stuff? And when do you start doing the physical stuff, the pitching, the breaking balls, all of that kind of stuff over the course of the off season? Obviously, it's not quite Thanksgiving yet, so you got some time.
Yeah, so obviously I'm able to take some time off. I'm starting to ramp up in the next week or two. I'm going to be going down to Florida and train for a couple of weeks down there. So hopefully everything that sets me on the right track, getting ready for the season.
So, I mean, honestly, you look so cool and calm, but, the idea of going to big league spring training has to be pretty exciting. Yeah. I mean, we're all hoping that happens in February. But have you had a chance since all the phone calls and all of that to just sit back and say, this is pretty cool?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely awesome feat to have, and trying to soak it all in. The first night was pretty cool since I was up with my brother and my dad, and we were just celebrating and it was a good time. So yeah, came home, and last night we had a little bit of celebration with my wife and her family. So
Very nice. I want to talk a little bit about this 2020 season. Were you able to watch Twins games? Did you even want to, since you couldn't be playing? It's got to be just weird. I mean, you've been playing baseball in the summers your whole life.
yeah, it was definitely super weird. Yeah, I watched the games. I enjoyed watching them. I have buddies that play on the team, Ryan Jeffers, Randy Dobnak. Those are guys that I grew up playing with in the minor leagues with us. So I'm definitely rooting super hard for all the guys that I've came pretty close with. So,
well, that was kind of my follow up to that. Is a lot of guys that you played with in the minor leagues and obviously gotten to know over the last 3 years. And even if you haven't been teammates, you worked together in the spring training and maybe in the off seasons. Is that, I guess, maybe equal parts excited for them, but also motivational to know that, you're on the 40-man roster now, but even then you were 2 levels away from that goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely super exciting. A couple guys texted me when they got the news, and I was just like, hey man, really, really looking forward to being back on the field with you again. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. All right. Again, that's Bailey Ober, Minnesota Twins right-handed pitching prospect, just added to the 40-man roster over the weekend. And again, anyone listening live on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, please feel free to send questions or comments. And we're going to kind of go back in time here a little bit, and with the help of Patrick, who asked this question. Bailey, what is your favorite favorite baseball childhood memory?
Oh, that's a good question. I remember a lot of good stuff when I was a little kid playing. I think one of my biggest memories is I threw a no-hitter when I was like 13 against one of the top teams in travel baseball. So that was a good one. And then another one, I hit a grand slam up in Cooperstown when I was like 12. So those are pretty cool.
That is a very cool memory. So when we did our Q&A, when I first talked to you back in 2018, and I've got it quoted up here. It says, you said, I knew what I wanted to be by first grade. I wrote a letter to my teacher saying I wanted to be a professional baseball player. So at what point during your time, whether it was in high school sometime or maybe when you got to college, did you start thinking, okay, that's obviously a goal of a lot of people and a dream of a lot of people, but I might have a chance at this?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had that dream ever since I was little. I think maybe in high school I started saying like, all right, maybe this is a possibility. I really wanted to go to college out of high school. I wanted to go play in the World Series, but that didn't happen. But yeah, got to college, had a really good freshman year, and then I was like, all right, this is something that's right at my fingertips. Just got to keep working, get better, get stronger, smarter, stuff like that. So it's been a good experience. I've learned a lot of stuff along the way. So,
and part of that is after that freshman year, I know you started having some elbow troubles, and you had the Tommy John surgery, and you kind of worked your way back. You got drafted by the Dodgers after your junior season. Decided to go back for your senior season, and again, it's got to be a tough decision, but at this point, I mean, obviously you're not to your goal yet, but does this kind of make it all worth it?
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially getting to play within the Twins organization. I feel like they really do it well. So I feel like I was blessed by going back for another year to get drafted and have the chance to play for this organization.
No doubt. And we're getting some thanks for a good story there. So
anytime.
So Charleston, obviously a good, strong baseball program in South Carolina. What were some of the highlights? You mentioned your freshman year. I know you went on, I think, to play for Team USA that summer.
Yeah, played with Team USA that summer, freshman year. Got to play in a super regional. We lost both of those games 1-0 at Texas Tech. Played with Team USA. Freshman year was really cool. Got to play with guys like Dansby Swanson, Bregman. There's probably 8 or 10 other guys that are in the big leagues on that team. Really good group of guys, very talented. So that was kind of like an eye-opening, like, all right, this is the level that is going to be going to play in professional baseball. So I need to work just like they do. I need to get after it just like they do, handle myself just like they do. So it was a really cool experience.
All right, so we got a long question here. I'm going to leave it up while you're able to answer it, but I'm going to read through it here. And it's, again, we welcome any questions. So Bailey, William says, hey, from Japan. His question is, my son is 16, played baseball over here in Japan up to high school. Now he's in Minnesota. He plays shortstop and is a pitcher. Any advice for a young arm?
Probably, if I was in high school, the stuff that I would be doing right now is getting in a weight room. I'd be lifting, eating right, making sure my body is ready to go and handle its demands that pitching and baseball does. I don't think I was ready to throw 105 or 110 innings my freshman year, and I think that's why I ended up getting hurt. So making sure your body is strong enough to handle the daily grind of baseball.
Great question. Thank you very much, William. One thing I've talked to a couple of other guys about in this show, and I think we've talked about it a little bit as well in the past. When you get drafted out of college, a lot of the colleges now maybe have more, but didn't even 2, 3, 4 years ago have the analytical, the technology that is available now. Matt Cantorino said he basically spent the first summer just understanding what all of it was, much less what it meant, much less how he could use that information. What was your process coming to the Twins organization at that time, and kind of taking all that in? And then secondly, I think probably you'd agree, the more important part is, how do I take that information and then apply it to your game? So talk us a little bit through your process in understanding the technology and then using it.
Okay. So yeah, in college, I didn't have much analytics at all. Drafted in the summer of 2017. The Twins weren't super into talking to guys about that stuff at the moment. But when I showed up to my first spring training in 2018 is when we really dove into everything. Worked with Pete Mackey, Justin Willard, other guys, and they were like, hey, you have pretty elite fastball numbers and you throw fastballs up in the zone. Because at the time in college, I was throwing two seamers. So I was trying to sneak the ball, make it run. And then when I showed up to 2018 spring training, they're like, all right, flip that. You're not doing that anymore. So after understanding why I need to do that, the second part is going out there and actually, all right, don't throw in the bottom of the zone anymore. You have to throw high in the zone. So that took a little bit to learn. I struggled a little bit at the beginning of 2018, and then finally got my command down up in the zone and really try to tunnel my pitches off of those and get ahead of guys. And I started having some pretty good success towards the end of 2018 and carried that into 2019.
So I want to ask this: you're 6'9". Is it easier for you to work up in the zone, or was it easier? Did you have any issues with working down in the zone? I mean, there is a different angle, obviously, working up to hitters versus down to hitters coming from your taller arm slot.
Yeah. I think it's easier now for me to throw up in the zone. But when I first started to, it was just a new topic and I had to make an adjustment, and it just took a little bit of time. But right now, I definitely feel like it's a little bit easier for me to pitch up in the zone.
Let's talk briefly about the pitches you throw. Everyone talks about upper 80s, low 90s fastball. But what do you mix in with your fastball?
Right now, my favorite pitch, off-speed pitch, is my changeup. I throw a circle change. I've been able to put up pretty good numbers with that. So curveball, and the pitch that I've been working on the most this year has been my slider, and I feel like it's definitely got a tick up of where it needs to be. So.
All right, we're going to go back to William quick to have a follow-up on his question. What kind of workout, upper body or lower body? And I heard bulking up isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean, everything, to be honest with you. Like, it's going to be hard for a high school kid to put on 50 pounds in his next 2 years. So I started lifting super heavy when I got to college, and it took me 4 years to put on 45 pounds. So it's going to take a little bit of time to really get after it. So at this age, obviously be smart in the type of movements that you're doing, but go as heavy as you can as long as you're using the correct movements.
Quick question again from Patrick. Bailey, do you have any pets?
I don't right now. I grew up with some dogs, but right now I don't have any pets. Just two
kids, so that's probably equivalent.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Want to ask you real quick. You've thrown to Ben Rortvedt in the past. He was added to the 40-man roster as well. Can you talk a little bit about working with him and what he brings to the behind the plate?
Yeah. Ben's awesome behind the plate. He's one of the best defensive catchers that I've ever worked with. He can do it all. He can block. He can throw guys out. He can frame. He's really good back behind there, and I think that's where he's gonna be around for a long time because of that.
And I believe you've been on the same team as Jordan Balazovic times. Again, just kind of talk about what he brings to the table as a pitcher. Obviously, you guys are both 6'5" and above, but what can he do?
Yeah, Ballsy is super, super talented. I think he has a very high ceiling of what he can do. He's super young, and he's already at this level, this stage of his career where he's super close to being a big leaguer. Just needs to maybe tighten stuff up, but he is super close, very talented. He could be a top end of the rotation guy for a long time.
And last question before we let you go, what have you and your wife found maybe out in Denver? I'm guessing with two little kids, probably under 2 or 3, and a global pandemic, finding things to do is not easy. But have you guys done anything away from the game of baseball in your free time?
Yeah, we try to keep them busy. It's kind of hard going out in public because you don't want to endanger anyone or get them sick. So the majority of the time we've just been going to parks, kind of hanging out by ourselves. But yeah, it's a little difficult with all this stuff going on, but they're having a good time, and we're trying to keep them as busy as possible.
Absolutely. And one question just came in from Mr. Christensen. What would you be doing for a living if you weren't a pro ball player right now?
That's a good question. I have a business degree from Charleston, so I'd probably be wanting to use that. I am interested in maybe trying to work into a front office on a pro baseball team or any other professional sports league. That's something I'm interested in, and maybe one day I'll get into that.
Sounds like a good path, but fortunately, you don't have to worry about that quite yet. And again, getting added to the 40-man roster is a big deal. It really is. So congratulations to you on that. Congratulations, obviously, on a great 2019 season. Would have been fun to watch what would have happened in a 2020, but hopefully we'll be able to see you in spring training in February or early March. And 2021 is a great year for you. So thank you very much for joining. And again, congratulations.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you for having me on.
All right. So again, to everyone listening, thank you. Thank you for all the great questions. It was a lot of fun here getting to know and catching up with Bailey Ober. Again, congratulations to him. So if you've been listening, please spread the word. Twins Spotlight with Bailey Ober tonight. You can find this on any of the Twins Daily social media platforms, and it'll also be on the Twins Daily podcast shortly. And again, thank you to everyone for listening. Have yourselves a great night. Check back tomorrow when we'll have another Twins Spotlight with, actually, I'll just tell you 3 guests, and it should be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. With that, thank you so much, and have yourselves a great night, and go Twins.